gingerbread.
Hey everyone, I'm Carrie Brazier from Baking with the Braziers, and I just wanted to get on here and say hi and introduce myself and say thank you to all of the subscribers so far. I know 100 subscribers is probably not a ton to many of you, but to me it was huge. And so I just wanted to say I'm excited and ready to bake with you guys, and we're going to be doing gingerbread, so it'll be awesome. Here we go.
All right, so we're starting in with 1 stick of butter, which is a half cup of butter, and we're going to mix that up and add 1 cup of sugar. And I've got Tim here helping me do the voiceover for our video.
All right.
We're making gingerbread. Now this is construction grade gingerbread. There's no eggs, no leavening.
Love gingerbread.
But do you like the construction kind of gingerbread? It's like cardboard.
I don't mind. I think as long as it's gingerbread, I like it when it comes in those boxes and they've been sitting on the shelf for several years.
The pre-made kits, ready to go.
That's right. You just, chew
They
on it.
put them out from last year.
That makes it, gingerbread is like a fine cheese or a wine. The
It
longer,
just gets better.
What year is this gingerbread?
I don't know.
1832.
Well, so apparently with construction grade gingerbread, you can make ornaments and do things, which I do in this video, and then you can leave them on your tree for a couple of years. Or
2 years.
Yeah, you can put them out for Christmas for 2 years.
I'll let them sit on
And
the
then
tree
they
for
probably
2
need to go in the
years and then I'll eat them.
So I added a half a cup of molasses and a half a cup of corn syrup, light corn syrup. And the molasses and the corn syrup, I did spray the measuring cup with a little bit of non-stick cooking spray. And that's
that old
supposed to
trick.
help
Yeah.
it come out of the little bowl. It maybe helped a little. I still had to use the scraper to get it out. Wah wah.
Yeah, I can't make that noise.
You can't?
Well, maybe I could. I'll practice.
All right.
Next video, there will be my That's wrong.
Yeah, that's still wrong. Okay, so this is what's going to make our gingerbread smell amazing.
Because otherwise, it's just bread.
Yep. 4 teaspoons of ginger, 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. And apparently this is what keeps insects away from your gingerbread houses, which I think is originally why they added it. Ants and bugs don't like cinnamon, and they don't like, so they just stay away from it, which is awesome, because if you're going to be throwing it on your tree, you don't want bugs to be
I like cinnamon.
going after it. Yeah, I love cinnamon.
It's great gum.
And then I had 6 cups of flour in this bowl, and I only added 5.5 because it started looking really dry. It is a pretty stiff dough. And so I think
It's got to last 2 years.
I put 5.5 cups of flour. If you need that extra half a cup, go right ahead. But I think that 5.5 was plenty. And we don't have to worry too much about it being sticky, because there's a couple of things that I'm going to do when I roll it out. I use a Silpat, and I roll it directly onto the Silpat, and then I cut my shapes on the Silpat and remove the negative dough. So I leave the shapes that I cut directly on the Silpat so that I don't have to transfer the shapes.
Get rid of that negativity. There ain't no place for it in gingerbread.
Right. So when and it's just, I'll show you right here. It's just really helpful to use the Silpat, but not in the cookie sheet yet, because then I can't get my rolling pin down below the edges of the cookie sheet. So
I want to see how you do this, because this is exciting.
This is really exciting for you.
Yeah.
So I'm just kneading it together, bringing the dough together a little bit, and I'm going to use my Silpat and I'm going to roll it. And I don't have those handy little guides to determine the thickness. I think they get in the way, And so I don't use them. I do eyeball it, and I'm pretty good at making sure that that the dough isn't thick in the middle and thin on the sides. I make sure not to roll off the edges so that the edges get really super thin. And I'm also trying to not add too much flour, because it doesn't go away sometimes. I see people adding so much flour sometimes, and then they bake with this dry flour, and it makes cracks in the dough, and it makes it look really dry. And I was going for a very even, pretty surface. I wanted it to look clean and not cracked and not gross. And so I rolled and rolled and rolled, and I'm pretty good at getting a rectangle by doing exactly what you see me doing here, which is like rolling towards the corners, and then and you saw me also like press into the dough a couple of times to help smash it out a little bit. That kind of helps, I think, to not have that big hump in the middle when you're rolling out dough.
Nobody wants that, yeah.
Nobody wants a hump in the middle. Okay. And then this is a template that I created years ago. I wanted to have kind of a different roof line. And I'll be making another video where I show you how I decorate this house. But I wanted to show you how I cut it out first. So this video is all about the gingerbread itself.
You gotta eat a whole bunch of Ritz crackers before you attempt any of this.
Any cardboard pieces I think are just a little easier, and they obviously last years because I was able to
almost as much as the dough.
Yeah, because I was able to keep those from a few years ago. I think I actually made this 4 years ago. And you'll see I'm using a bench scraper to cut the straight parts as much as possible, because a pizza cutter is great, it's fabulous, but a bench scraper will keep them even more straight. And so
pizza cutter's a little willy-key wonky-key.
Yeah, willy-key wonky-key?
Yeah.
That's a good way of saying it. So I
you
use
don't
the pizza
get
cutter
anything
here.
Oh, there we go.
Well, I had to.
I know, I shouldn't have insulted it a second ago. Now I feel guilty.
I had to use the pizza cutter in certain spots because
I'm never going to be able to look that pizza cutter in the eye.
I had to use a knife in certain areas as well.
Pizza cutter's going to be like, don't you judge me.
So I'm going to leave the pieces on the Silpat because those would be really hard to move. And I grab a spatula, an offset spatula, and I run it kind of underneath the negative pieces and then just pull those out to try and get a clean edge.
What? There you go. You did it real quick there.
And then I just slid it onto a cookie sheet and I baked it at 325, and here's where it gets a little dicey. You have to just keep it in there for a while. You don't want them to get dark, but you do want them to feel really solid and hard. And you'll see that I'm gonna do this all over again so that you guys could see it, I guess. I didn't realize that I showed this too, but we're gonna go again. So you just keep taking the negative pieces away. And
so nothing gets wasted. This is like...
And then rolling out the dough again. And actually this dough sometimes dough gets more difficult to deal with.
Wickety wonkety.
As you roll it out and take the pieces, the scraps, and roll it out again, and take the scraps and roll it out again. And by the time you've done that a couple of times, you're left with a dough that's just not so great. This dough actually...
Well, you can't really blame the dough either. I mean, I think, it probably felt like, I didn't get picked for the A team at the beginning, and here I am being rolled out again.
So I'm showing that I cut some shapes out because you can see that my light got super bright coming in through the window, and so I wanted to show that I did cut out little shapes, and I used, I think it was a chopstick to make the holes. That's really important because it'll make it easier to hang as an ornament. And you can see I'm trying to show you the sheen that's on them. They're really a smooth, kind of shiny dough, and there's none of that dry, cracked, not prettiness. There's no leavening in this, so there's no spreading. You can set them right next to each other and they won't spread and touch. There's no baking soda or baking powder or eggs or anything like that in this dough. But I think it's beautiful. And it makes a really good canvas for ornaments, for gingerbread houses, for all the things that you guys want to make.
Woohoo!
I hope you enjoy, and I hope that you are going to bake these with your family for the holidays because it's really fun. And I will be making a video showing you how to make icing coming up next.
Merry Christmas! Ho, 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 ho.